Good morning, Keith. Thanks for joining us.
One of the stars. Oh boy. Good morning. How are you?
You are a star. How long have you been?
Come on.
How long have you been with Dateline?
402 years.
Have you
How
been
are
there?
you?
I'm good. Have you been there all 25 years?
Well, I mean, it started out with them and then went away for a while. I went up to do a morning show up in Canada for a few years, and then I came back again in about 95. So I missed a few years. In fact, I missed the years where they had to do a little show shuffling after the famous incident with the Chevy truck that nobody likes to remember.
Wait.
Yes, let's not even bother.
What do people say to you on the street?
On the street?
Yeah.
Not you again. No.
Because normally if they see you, something bad has happened.
Well, that's true. Although, most people are very, very nice, and they'll stop and chat. And, it's, maybe take a selfie or something. But occasionally somebody will stop me. And I remember one guy in particular who stopped me one day and said, "Do you have to talk that way?" And then just kept on walking.
Yeah. How did it come about that you did the Waze app to provide directions for people?
There's a devious woman who works at Dateline who's got a fertile mind, and she's always coming up with these strange ideas, crazy ideas. And I usually bat them back and say, "No, that's nuts. Well, let's not do that." And Waze was one of the ones where I said to her I thought she was crazy, because why would Waze even want to do that? And also, don't you have to sit and record a million different things? And turns out you don't. It took me a couple hours, but it's actually it's hilarious, really. Although I can't use it myself, it's too creepy.
You don't have you giving you directions?
No. I tried it one time, and it was just no. I didn't. That's ridiculous.
Give me a line that you had to record that you remember.
I don't know. Pothole ahead. Yeah.
Watch out.
Traffic camera. Watch out.
So it was a couple hours where you just go into a recording studio and then they just give you lines?
The recording studio in the closet of my house, yes.
Oh.
My bedroom closet.
Do you voice over Dateline from the closet in your house?
From the bedroom closet, yes. That's right. And it's probably a better recording studio than most any other you can find, frankly.
That process of trying to get it right when you're by yourself, now granted the acoustics in your closet are probably great, but
yeah.
How do you know when you've gotten it right that really captures what you're going to show on Dateline?
I don't have no idea at all. None. I just say it and then hope it turns out all right.
Anybody in your family have a voice similar to yours?
Not really, no. It's odd, isn't it? I don't know how that happened. Don't know. No idea.
How often do you try to mix in comedy or a sense of humor in the Dateline reads there to lighten the mood?
Well, the thing is, these are all, almost all, pretty sad or sometimes creepy stories about terrible things that have happened to people. Mm-hmm. And so, and we have the people who have gone through them have been good enough to tell us about them. So, first of all, you respect what they've been through, and I really do. I mean, it's remarkable how people are prepared to share their stories in an effort to kind of not only get their story out, but to help other people understand how to deal with these things. So, I respect that enormously. But at the same time, I understand, and the viewers understand, that there is this kind of, tends to be a public fascination with true crime, and that we get some probably innocent pleasure out of watching these stories. So there is something kind of a wink and a nod between us as, storyteller and story listener. And I think that's where just a little humor, hopefully self-deprecating or something, comes into it.
But there is, I don't even know what it is, if it's humor or it's just how it's posed as you go to break. Paulie, give Keith an example of what might make us, I don't know, grin a little bit.
Like, why would the pool be empty on a hot, hot summer day? You know, like just
Ooh,
something.
That's pretty good, I like that.
But when he
Can
says
I
it,
use that later?
It has nothing to do with the story you're going to use, but you're going to throw that in there.
Why not?
But I love, like, you leave us with this question, like, and where was the dog?
Well, where was the dog? Exactly.
What's the story that stays with you or stayed with you the longest?
A lot of them. There are so many that it's hard to pull up one in particular. But there are several that have stayed with me a long time. Some about crime and some not about crime. And this will sound very strange. One that I was thinking about yesterday, in fact, because the subject came up for some reason. Do you remember Free Willy the whale?
Yeah.
This was a whale named Keiko, who was in a small pool in Mexico when they made the movie Free Willy. And a telephone billionaire saw the movie and became obsessed with the whale, built a huge pool in Oregon in an effort to not only give it a better home, but train Willie the whale, or Keiko, to be wild, to be able to be released in the ocean. So this is a process that went on for years, and we followed it. I did like 2 or 3, 4 stories about it over the course of several years, and it was a remarkable story. This whale was so friendly and wanted to it's almost like it was talking to you. And then later on, toward the end of the story, it was sad and pathetic because they called the whale the golden retriever. It just wanted to be man's best friend and didn't want to get out in the wild and fish and didn't know how. And it came to a rather sad end a few years later. But so I followed that story, and actually it stuck with me all these years.
But you
still feel kind of a fondness for that crazy whale.
How do you? Because you're dealing with negative stories. It's rare when you're saying Dateline's going to do a story on something that's really going to make you feel.
We don't do happy stories,
right? But it has to. You bring it home with you. It's like a therapist who's listening to sad stories, and
true.
How do you process that? I mean,
it probably it's partly in the experience of talking to and being with those who've gone through these things. They're the ones who are having trouble adjusting, or they're the ones who have to think about it and feel it every day. Can you imagine losing a child or a spouse or a family member to some dreadful thing like murder? It's a terrible idea, and when you see people going through it and they share what it's like to go through it, it's almost like I don't have to live with it because they've told me the story. They've given me something of what it's like for them, and I feel as if that, in some cases, maybe helped a little bit. And so,
he's Keith Morrison, one of the stars of Dateline NBC correspondent. My producer Paulie, who just did the imitation of you, sent you a line or two. Could you record that? Could you read that so we could have that for posterity?
Oh, you mean now? Sure, of course.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Here.
All right. You ready?
Here we go. Shh. Okay.
The Dan Patrick Show. A directionless morning sports zoo with one broadcasting legend ensconced by a motley crew of deviants. But it works. You're listening and watching. The Dan Patrick Show.
Awesome.
Does that work? No.
Yes.
Could it be? All right. Fine.
Wait. Wait.
Yeah.
You need another take?
I do?
Okay.
Do I? I don't know.
All right.
What do you think?
I was fine with it. I thought it was great.
Okay, good.
And I like the pause with deviants.
Well, they are, aren't they?
Can you give me a line of what's wrong with the pervy guy in the back? Or could you do it maybe suck it back row, Keith?
Suck Stuck at back row?
It's-
Who's the perv in the back?
It's always
Who's
great
the
to
nutcase on the phone?
Hello. It's great to talk to you again, and safe travels as always. But thank you for joining us, Keith.
Thank you, and it's nice to talk to you again.
That's Keith Morrison, Dateline NBC correspondent.
What's with the pervy guy in the back?
I might have ruined it because I laughed.
Yeah.
But I think we got in a clean suck at back row.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.